Exclusive crew member recounts what happened on that stranded, storm-tossed Viking Sky cruise ship. Dead engines. Stranded in fridge. According to one of the crew members of the Viking Sky cruise ship, one of the newest ships of the vaunted luxury line, Viking Ocean Cruises, the last 48 hours on board will not soon be forgotten by any of the 1,373 passengers and crew. Everything. The front of the ship was the most imbalanced, he said, and was most affected by the waves. It. Neither can the crew member, who spoke to USA Today by phone from Molde, the port in western Norway where the Viking Sky found day safety Monday after being pushed and pulled by tugboats for hours of slow sailing on Sunday. Although he described the crew as well trained for emergencies, he said he called his family at one point when the Wi-Fi was working to get to the life jackets. He said, crew members had to open doors onto open decks and into the wind and to form human chains to distribute the life jackets while the ship was leaning perilously close to the frigid water below. He said the lifeboats were of no use, apparently because the lack of power meant they could not be moved, and the seas were too rough anyway. After the order to evacuate came, rescuers worked all night Saturday and into Sunday to airlift 479 passengers, saw about half the total to shore by a fleet of 5 helicopters flying in the dark, slowly winching people up one by one from the heaving ship as the waves crashed and the winds shrieked AAA. All of the passengers and crew members survived, though some passengers were injured in the chaos on board, Ahe said, adding he saw one passenger on a stretcher who has suffered a broken neck. Most of the passengers were on their way home Monday, but the crew was still on the ship, trying to clean up the mess as repairs began. The ship's next scheduled trip, a cruise to Scandinavia and Germany that was to leave on Wednesday, has been cancelled. The crew member, who has worked for Viking for 3 years and has worked on said the cruise to see the Northern Lights was nearing an end when the crisis began on Saturday morning. As the ship drifted without power, the crew threw out anchors to keep it in place, fearing it would be smashed on treacherous offshore rocks. Ahe said the ship started to list, and the crew rushed to grab life jackets and distribute them to the passengers, some of them elderly. He said he believes the crew's training was up to the job of dealing with the emergency. He still can't believe it happened, but he's very contributing the Associated Press. This article originally appeared on USA Today.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.